Trusting in divine timing is not merely about waiting for something to happen. It is about cultivating a deeper faith in the unseen, a belief that there is a grand design at work beyond our immediate understanding. Life is filled with moments where things don't go according to our plans, where delays and disappointments cloud our sense of purpose. Yet it is precisely in these moments that the concept of divine timing becomes most significant. Trusting that God's timing is perfect calls for a surrender of our human need for control and a willingness to believe that He orchestrates all things for our ultimate good. When you trust in divine timing, you recognize that God sees the entire picture of your life. He knows what is ahead, what you need, and when you need it. Our perspective is often limited to the immediate present or the anticipated future. However, God's plan for us is woven with intricacies that interconnect every aspect of our existence. He aligns events, relationships, and opportunities in ways we cannot predict. Trusting Him means accepting that every moment of waiting is an essential thread in the tapestry of our lives. It means understanding that His delays are not denials, but opportunities for preparation and growth. Often we rush through life, pushing for results and striving for achievements that we think will fulfill us. In doing so, we can miss the beauty and purpose of the journey. Trusting in divine timing allows us to slow down and live in the present, fully aware that each moment has a purpose. Whether it's a season of joy or struggle, every experience is shaping us, teaching us, and preparing us for the blessings ahead. It's not just about what we're waiting for, it's about who we're becoming while we're timing. Faith in God's timing also involves acknowledging that His ways are higher than ours. There are moments when life feels like a series of setbacks or when prayers seem to go unanswered. In these moments, remind ourselves that God is never late. He is always on time, even if it feels otherwise. What seems like a delay from our perspective may be His way of protecting us, steering us towards something better, or building our character. This is where trust becomes essential, believing that He knows best even when we don't understand. One of the most challenging aspects of trusting divine timing is dealing with uncertainty. It is human nature to seek clarity and certainty, to want assurances about the future. However, faith thrives in the absence of certainty. Trusting in God's plan requires letting go of the need for immediate answers and embracing the mystery of His work. It's about finding peace in the knowledge that God is in control, even when life feels out of control. Furthermore, trusting in divine timing often involves recognizing the value of patience. Patience is not just about enduring the wait. It's about maintaining hope and gratitude during the process. It's about trusting that every delay serves a purpose, whether it's to refine our character, deepen our faith, or align circumstances in ways that we cannot yet see. Patience allows us to let go of anxiety and rest in the assurance that God's timing is perfect. In trusting divine timing, there's also an element of relinquishing our desires and plans to align with God's will. This does not mean abandoning our dreams or goals, but rather submitting them to God, trusting that He will either fulfill them in His way or guide us towards something even greater. It's about surrendering the outcome and focusing on obedience and faithfulness in the present. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the strength of our trust in God. The beauty of trusting divine timing is that it brings peace to the waiting. Instead of wrestling with impatience or frustration, we can rest in the confidence that God's plans are good and His timing is flawless. This peace transforms our perspective, allowing us to see the waiting period not as wasted time, but as a season of growth and preparation. It's an opportunity to deepen our relationship with God, to strengthen our character, and to prepare for the blessings that lie ahead. Trusting in divine timing also teaches us to celebrate the journey rather than fixating solely on the destination. Every step, every challenge, and every moment of waiting is part of a divine process. When we trust in God's timing, we learn to find joy and gratitude in the present, knowing that He is at work in our lives. It allows us to live with a sense of anticipation and hope, confident that His promises will come to fruition in their appointed time. Ultimately, trusting in divine timing is about surrendering to God's sovereignty and resting in His love. It's about believing that He is faithful, that His plans are good, and that His timing is perfect. It's about walking in faith even when the path is unclear and trusting that He will guide us every step of the way. Trusting in divine timing is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It brings peace to our hearts, strength to our faith, and clarity to our purpose. And when the time comes, when God's plan unfolds in its fullness, we will see the beauty of his timing. We will look back and realize that every delay, every challenge, and every moment of waiting was part of his perfect plan. Trusting in divine timing is not just about waiting for what we desire. It's about becoming the person God created us to be and experiencing the fullness of his blessings in his perfect time. Understanding the signs that God is preparing to reveal something significant in your life requires a spiritual sensitivity and an open heart. Often we miss these signs because we're too focused on our own plans or caught up in the noise of daily life. Yet God operates in profound ways, and his signals are subtle but unmistakable for those who are attuned to his voice. Recognizing these signs can be a transformative experience, a reassurance that you are on the right path and that his timing is at work in your favor. One of the most common signs that God is about to bring something to light is an unexplainable sense of clarity or peace, even in the midst of confusion. It's as if a still small voice within you whispers assurances that things are unfolding as they should. This peace doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from knowing that God is in control. It's the kind of peace that surpasses all understanding, anchoring you even when the storm rages around you. This inner peace is a divine signal that God is aligning circumstances and preparing to reveal his plans for your life. Another sign is the feeling of being stretched or tested. Life may present you with challenges that seem to push you beyond your limits, forcing you to grow in ways you didn't think possible. These moments of stretching are not meant to break you, but to prepare you. They are like the refining process of gold, where impurities are burned away to reveal something precious. When you find yourself in a season of trials or hardships, it's often a sign that God is molding you, equipping you for what's to come. These tests are not about punishment. They're about preparation. They're about building the character and strength you'll need for the next chapter of your life. Sometimes God's signs manifest through a sense of restlessness or discontentment with the status quo. This doesn't mean that you are ungrateful for what you have, but rather that God is stirring something within you, prompting you to prepare for a shift. It's his way of nudging you toward new opportunities or directions. This restlessness can feel unsettling, but it's also exciting. It's a reminder that you were created for more and that God is orchestrating something beyond your current situation. When you feel this stirring, it's essential to lean into it, seeking his guidance through prayer and reflection. God often speaks through the people around us, using them as instruments to reveal his will. You may notice that certain individuals come into your life at just the right moment, offering wisdom, encouragement, or opportunities that align perfectly with your needs. These divine connections are not coincidences. They are part of God's plan to bring his purposes to light. Conversely, you may also notice that some relationships begin to fade or end during this time. While this can be painful, it's often a necessary step in making room for what God is preparing to do in your life. Trusting that he is removing the old to make way for the new is a key part of recognizing his hand at work. Another powerful sign is the alignment of circumstances that seem too perfect to be random. Doors open that you didn't expect, or opportunities arise that feel tailor-made for you. These moments of divine alignment are a clear indication that God is orchestrating events in your favor. They remind you that his timing is perfect and that he has been working behind the scenes all along. When you encounter these moments, it's crucial to act with faith and courage, stepping into the opportunities he provides with confidence that he has prepared the way. God also reveals his plans through moments of stillness and quiet. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the importance of slowing down and listening. Yet, it is often in the quiet moments that God speaks most clearly. When you take time to be still, to disconnect from the distractions around you, and to focus on his presence, you open yourself to hearing his voice. These moments of stillness are sacred. They are where clarity, direction, and understanding emerge. They remind you that God is not only in the grand, dramatic moments of life, but also in the gentle whispers of the everyday. Finally, one of the most profound signs is a renewed sense of hope and expectation. Even if nothing outwardly has changed, you feel a shift within you, a confidence that something good is coming, that God is about to reveal his purpose. This hope is not based on wishful thinking. It's rooted in faith. It's the assurance that God's promises are true and that he is faithful to fulfill them. When you feel this sense of expectation, it's a sign to prepare your heart, to stay alert, and to trust that God is at work. Recognizing the signs that God is preparing to bring something to light requires a posture of openness and faith. It calls for a willingness to trust his timing and to believe that he is working all things together for your good. These signs are not always easy to discern, especially when life feels uncertain or challenging. But when you seek him earnestly, he will reveal his plans in ways that bring clarity, peace, and purpose. Trusting in these signs is an act of faith, a declaration that you believe in his power, his timing, and his love. And when the time comes, when God's purpose is fully revealed, you will see that every moment of waiting and preparation was part of his perfect plan. When we talk about God's timing, we often find ourselves wrestling with questions of trust and patience. These are two of the most challenging virtues to develop because they require surrendering control and embracing uncertainty. Trusting God's timing doesn't mean passively waiting or resigning yourself to fate. Instead, it involves actively leaning into faith, believing that his plans are better than anything we could design ourselves. This process is not easy, but it is profoundly transformative. Through it, we learn to let go of our limited understanding and to rely on his infinite wisdom. One of the most crucial aspects of trusting God's timing is understanding that delay does not mean denial. When things don't happen as quickly as we'd like, it's easy to assume that God isn't listening or that he has forgotten us. But God's timing is not aligned with our clocks or calendars. His perspective is eternal, and he sees the bigger picture that we cannot comprehend. What feels like a delay to us is often a period of preparation or protection. Sometimes he withholds what we want because he knows it's not the right time or because he has something even better in store. Trusting him means believing that his no or not yet is an act of love, not rejection. Patience as a companion to trust is equally challenging. Our culture often glorifies instant gratification, making the concept of waiting seem burdensome. But patience is a spiritual discipline that shapes our character. It teaches us humility by reminding us that we are not in control. It teaches us gratitude by allowing us to appreciate the process, not just the outcome. And it teaches us faith by forcing us to rely on God rather than our own strength or timing. Patience is not passive, it's an active stance of hope and expectation, rooted in the assurance that God's promises will come to fruition. During periods of waiting, it's natural to experience moments of doubt or frustration. You might question whether you've misunderstood God's plan or if you're even on the right path. These emotions are part of the human experience, but they're also opportunities to deepen your faith. When you bring your doubts to God, you create space for him to reassure you, to remind you of his faithfulness, and to renew your strength. The Bible is full of examples of individuals who had to wait on God. Abraham waited for a son, Joseph waited in prison, and Moses waited in the wilderness. Their stories show us that waiting is not wasted time. It is a season of growth, refinement, and preparation. Trusting God's timing also involves learning to recognize his subtle cues and signs. God often works in ways that are quiet and understated. It might be a conversation that sparks a new perspective, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desires, or a moment of clarity in prayer. Paying attention to these small nudges helps you stay attuned to his guidance and reassures you that he is working, even when it's not immediately visible. These signs are reminders that God's hand is in every detail of your life, orchestrating events in ways that you may not fully understand now, but will one day appreciate. An essential part of trusting God's timing is letting go of the need for certainty. This is perhaps one of the hardest aspects because we often crave guarantees and clear answers. But faith thrives in the space of uncertainty. It's about stepping forward even when you can't see the whole path, trusting that God will provide the light you need for each step. This kind of trust requires courage, but it is deeply rewarding. It allows you to live with a sense of peace and confidence, knowing that you don't have to have everything figured out because God does. Another profound aspect of trusting God's timing is learning to find joy in the waiting. It's easy to postpone happiness until you achieve a specific goal or reach a desired milestone. But God calls us to find contentment in the present moment. This doesn't mean ignoring your desires or pretending that waiting is easy. It means choosing to focus on the blessings you have right now and trusting that God is working all things together for your good. Finding joy in the waiting transforms what could feel like a period of frustration into a season of gratitude and growth. In trusting God's timing, community plays a vital role. Surrounding yourself with people who share your faith can provide encouragement and accountability. They can remind you of God's promises when you're feeling discouraged and help you keep perspective when you're tempted to give up. Sharing your journey with others also helps you realize that you're not alone. Everyone has seasons of waiting, and hearing other stories of God's faithfulness can inspire you to stay the course. Ultimately, trusting God's timing is about surrender. It's about releasing your plans, timelines, and expectations into His hands and believing that His way is better. This surrender is not an act of weakness, but of strength. It's a declaration that you trust God more than you trust yourself, that you believe in His power, His wisdom, and His love. And when you make this surrender, you open yourself to the incredible peace and freedom that come from knowing that your life is in the hands of a God who is good, faithful, and always on time. When it comes to recognizing the fulfillment of God's timing, the experience often feels like a divine unveiling. After seasons of waiting, doubting, and persevering, the moment when everything falls into place brings a deep sense of gratitude and awe. It is a reminder that God's timing is always perfect, even when it feels like He has been silent or distant. This realization is not just about the outcome, it is about the journey and the lessons learned along the way. It is about seeing how each step, each delay, and each challenge was intricately woven into His greater plan for your life. One of the most powerful aspects of witnessing God's timing is the clarity that comes with it. What once seemed confusing or unfair suddenly makes sense. You begin to see how the pieces of the puzzle fit together in ways that you couldn't imagine. Perhaps the delay protected you from harm, prepared you for a greater blessing, or taught you a valuable lesson that you needed to grow. In retrospect, the waiting period transforms into a season of preparation, and the struggles become stepping stones toward the fulfillment of God's promises. This clarity often brings a profound sense of peace. When you realize that God was working behind the scenes all along, orchestrating events for your good, you can let go of the anxiety and frustration that may have consumed you during the waiting period. This peace is not just about the resolution of your circumstances, it is about the assurance that God is faithful and that His plans are far greater than anything you could have envisioned. It is a peace that allows you to trust Him more deeply in future seasons of uncertainty. Another beautiful aspect of experiencing the fulfillment of God's timing is the way it strengthens your faith. Seeing God's promises come to fruition reinforces the truth of His word and His character. It reminds you that He is a God who keeps His promises, even when it feels like they are delayed. This strengthened faith becomes a foundation for future challenges, giving you the confidence to trust Him in the unknown. It also deepens your relationship with Him as you experience firsthand His love, faithfulness, and provision. The fulfillment of God's timing often comes with unexpected blessings. While you may have been praying for a specific outcome, God's answer frequently exceeds your expectations. His blessings are not just about meeting your immediate needs, they are about aligning your life with His purpose and giving you a glimpse of His abundant goodness. These blessings are a reminder that God's plans are not only perfect, but also infinitely better than anything we could design for ourselves. They teach us to dream bigger, to pray boldly, and to trust Him completely. This moment of fulfillment is also an opportunity to reflect on the lessons learned during the waiting period. Perhaps you gained patience, developed resilience, or discovered a new level of dependence on God. These lessons are not incidental, they are integral to the fulfillment of God's plan. They shape your character and prepare you for the responsibilities and opportunities that come with His blessings. Recognizing these lessons helps you appreciate the process and see the waiting period not as wasted time, but as a season of growth and refinement. As you reflect on God's timing, you may also notice how your experience impacts those around you. Your story of faith, perseverance, and fulfillment becomes a testimony that inspires and encourages others. It shows them that God is faithful, that His timing is perfect, and that trusting Him is always worth it. Sharing your testimony allows you to glorify God and to be a source of hope for those who may be in their own seasons of waiting. It reminds them that they are not alone and that God is working in their lives, even if they can't see it yet. Experiencing the fulfillment of God's timing also fosters a deeper sense of gratitude. When you see how God has worked in your life, you can't help but be thankful for his guidance, provision, and love. This gratitude shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do, from what you're waiting for to what you've already been given. It cultivates a spirit of thankfulness that permeates every aspect of your life, making you more aware of God's blessings and more attuned to his presence. As you move forward, the fulfillment of God's timing equips you to trust him more fully in the future. It reminds you that he is faithful, that he is in control, and that his plans are always for your good. This trust becomes a source of strength and peace, allowing you to navigate future challenges with confidence and hope. It allows you to live with the assurance that no matter what happens, God's timing is perfect and his plans are good. Ultimately, recognizing the fulfillment of God's timing is a deeply spiritual experience. It reminds you of his sovereignty, his love, and his faithfulness. It teaches you to trust him more deeply, to wait on him more patiently, and to follow him more faithfully. It is a reminder that your life is in his hands and that he is working all things together for your good and his glory. And in that realization, you find peace, joy, and hope that carry you through every season of life.